Matt, and welcome to another wrap-up video. I didn't feel like I'd read a whole lot of books in January, but I guess I did because I read 9, so I guess all of that reading during lunch and at the breakfast table paid off. I'm really glad that I read a lot of these books, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. First off, I read Call the Midwife by Jennifer Worth. This is the memoir that the TV series Call the Midwife is based on. I had some mixed feelings about it, but ultimately I'm glad that I gave it a shot, and it was really interesting to see what life was like in London on the East End in the 1950s. Next up was Beastkeeper by Kat Hellison. I was lucky enough to get this arc from the publisher, thank you Macmillan, and this was a middle grade novel about a girl who is cursed and she is determined to break it. I had some sort of mixed feelings about it, not my particular cup of tea, but I did enjoy seeing what's going on in the middle grade fantasy market. Continuing in my quest to either reread or finally read all of the books in the Princess Diaries series before the next one comes out this summer, I read Princess in Waiting by Meg Cabot. This is the 4th book in the series, and I think the last one I read before I sort of put it to the side. Mia's shenanigans are as epic as ever. It's so weird to me to see how this book is a bit dated now, but how so many things about being in high school have stayed the same. Moving into some adult literature this month, I read This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. This book might sound familiar to some of you because a movie version of it did come out in 2014. It was actually the commercials for that movie that made me want to read the book. This book engaged around the idea of just because people are family doesn't necessarily mean they know each other. Another grown-up book that I read was The Descendants by Cowie Hart Mellings. This might also sound familiar because, yes, it was made into a movie several years ago starring George Clooney and Shailene Woodley. This was one of those great situations where Hollywood actually really did the book justice. This was the story of Matthew King, who is simultaneously dealing with the fact that his wife was cheating on him and is now in a coma and is going to be taken off life support, while at the same time he is a descendant of Hawaiian royalty and he and his family are trying to decide what to do with the land that has been left them. Keep it or sell it. A beautiful and epic sort of space odyssey that I finally got around to reading was These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is the story of Lilac and Tarver, two people who couldn't be more different except they are united by one thing. They are both on the luxury spaceship, the Icarus, when it goes crashing and they find themselves abandoned on a planet that seems to be survivable. So why isn't anybody else here? Contemporary teens meets classic rock in We Can Work It Out by Elizabeth Yulberg. This is a sequel to her debut novel from a few years ago, The Lonely Hearts Club, in which Penny Lane and her friends are back. They finally have it all. But can it stay that way for long? A big thank you to Scholastic for providing me with this arc through Lisa Weimer's novel Luncheon Cuisine Party. Another contemporary story I read this month that absolutely blew me away and will be hitting bookshelves starting February 3rd is I'll Meet You There by Heather Demetrios. This is a wonderfully heart-gripping story about Skylar, a girl who is finally going to be leaving her deadbeat town, except now her mom has lost her job, and she feels like she's going to have to stay and pick up the pieces of their trailer park life. But at the same time, there's Josh Mitchell. He's just come back to town from losing his leg while in Afghanistan with the Marines. They don't have anything in common except for the fact that they both work at the Paradise Motel, and the relationship that blooms and the friendship and all of the struggles that they're dealing with. It's a truly gripping, emotional, wonderful story. And thank you to Henry Holt for sending me this arc. And finally, a book that just came out that is finally here and I could not be happier about it is Fairest by Marissa Meyer, the latest book in her Lunar Chronicles series. This is actually a prequel telling the story of the evil Queen Lavanna. Even though the Lunar Chronicles might start with Cinder, the events that actually get the ball rolling for our beloved series start years earlier when Lavanna is just a girl. This book is so twisted, and sometimes I even found myself feeling bad for Lavanna. But oh my gosh, this gives wonderful insight into the world of the Lunar Chronicles, and it made me even more excited for winter, which will hopefully be coming to us in November 2015. So those are the 9 books that I managed to read this month. A lot of variety. I'm really glad that I'm broadening my reading choices lately. All my usual links are down below. Comments are always welcome, and that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye!